could not hold you down. You are the risen King. Yes, Lord. And you're seated in majesty. You are the risen King. Sing hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You have won the victory. Come on, lift your voice and sing. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You have won it all.
You have won it all for me.
Death could not hold.
You down.
You are the risen.
You are the risen King.
And you're seated in majesty.
Seated in majesty.
You are the risen.
You are the risen King.
Come on, lift your voice and say, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You have won the victory.
Won the victory.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You have won it all.
Won it all for me.
Death could not hold.
Hold you down.
You are the risen.
The risen King.
And you're seated.
Seated in majesty.
You are the risen.
The risen King.
Come on, one more time. Sing hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You have won.
You have won the victory.
Come on, sing it from your heart. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You have won it all.
Won it all for me.
Death could not hold.
Hold you down.
You are the risen.
The risen King.
And you're seated.
Seated in majesty.
You are.
You are the risen King.
Sing, I'm alive.
I'm alive because
You
you're
are.
alive.
I'm alive.
I'm alive because you're alive.
I'm alive.
I'm alive because
You
you're
are.
alive.
I'm alive.
I'm alive because
You
you're
are.
alive.
I'm alive.
I'm alive because you're alive.
I'm alive.
I'm alive because you're alive.
I'm alive.
I'm alive because you're alive.
I'm alive.
Because you're alive.
I'm still here.
Still here because you're alive.
I'm still here.
I'm still here because you're alive.
I'm still here.
Still here because
You
you're
are.
alive.
I'm still here.
Still here because
Hey!
you're alive.
I've got joy.
I've got joy because you're alive.
I've got joy.
I've got joy because you're alive.
I've got joy.
I've got joy because
You
you're
are.
alive.
I've got joy.
I've got joy because you're alive.
I'm alive.
I'm alive 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 because you're alive.
I'm still here.
Still here because you're alive.
I'm still here.
I'm still here because
Hey.
you're alive.
I'm still here.
Still here because you're alive.
I'm still here. That's it. That's what I needed.
You're alive.
I'm still here.
Still here because you're alive.
I'm still here.
Still here
The devil tried to take me out, but I'm still here.
still here because you're alive.
I'm still here.
Because you're alive.
I'm still here
Still here
because you're alive. I'm still here.
here because you're alive.
No matter what the enemy brought my way, I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. He thought the weapon would work. Though the weapon may fall, it will not prosper. I'm still here because you're alive. Because you're alive. Because you're alive. Because you're alive. I've got joy. You are. I've got joy. Get your Bibles real quick. I mean, I'm so excited about being into the New Year's. But like I said, if I had a topic, weapon of mass distraction, and I had a subtopic, let's start the year off with Jesus. Let's start it off with Jesus. We're going to Exodus, the 14th chapter, the 19th and the 20th verse, those couple of verses. But I love Jesus. In order to prove that I love him, I want to serve him and give him the glory and give him the honor because he deserves it. Exodus, the 14th chapter, the 19th and 20th verse. Then the angel of God who had been traveling in front of Israel's army withdrew and went behind them, coming between the army of Egypt and Israel. Throughout the night, the cloud brought darkness to the one side and light to the other side. So neither went near the other all night long. Turn to your neighbor and say, let's start the year off right with Jesus. Put him in the middle. Somebody said, I'm all right starting them off, but put him in the middle. Yeah, you put him in the middle of what you're doing, all the stuff that's going on. He'll work it out. Regardless of what you're going through. Have your seat for a minute. After 400 years, the Israelites been going through, experiencing, down there getting ready to experience freedom from bondage and slavery. God getting ready to turn that thing around. In spite of how long you've been in something or dealing with something this morning, sometimes you put God in the middle. God will work that thing out for you. But a lot of times, we'll call our friends, call our sisters and brothers, see what you think. It's amazing. And some of them going through the same hell that you're going through. How they going to help you? God is powerful enough to step in any situation and turn it around. There's a wonderful description of God in Revelation, the first chapter and the 8th verse, that God is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Meaning that God have two words for our life, Keisha. God have two words for our life, Sister Charlotte. Somebody said, Pastor, what those words? So I need to know. Meaning that God have two words. Alpha is that God has the commencing word of our life. And Omega, God have the concluding word of our life. Man don't have the last say so. The doctor don't have the last say so. The banker don't have the last say so. No. No. The commission word of our life means that God can speak a word and things will start coming into being. Meaning things don't have to be already in existence or in a certain order. In the book of Genesis, God can open his mouth and say, let thou be. And things that was not will start coming into existence. God can say, let there be increase where there is insufficient, and it will be all sufficient. All God have to do where there is no peace and cloudy in your life, God can come in the midst, and that will be all that stuff will be cleaned up. The cloud that you're dealing with, the issue that you were dealing with, can be cleaned up. Where you are experiencing grief, sorrow, and sadness, all of God have to say is, let there be joy, and those tears will be tears of joy. In areas of our life that's dying and decaying, and all of God have to do is say, let there be life. When death knocking on your door, you thought you were going to leave here, or your loved one thought you were going to be gone, and God can say, let there be life, and God can turn that situation around. You'll start coming back. God also have the concluding word where it is omega. God can speak another word. All those things that was negative spoken in your life, a lie that was told on you, spoken over you, God can speak a word and all those things can cease. When those weapons start to form, they will not prosper, and it will not prosper, and it will stop because God has the concluding word. Folks that are shooting arrows at you, and they are fall because God have the last say so. God have the last say so in the concluding word, because God had the concluding word when confusion, danger, death angels all start coming at you. All God has to do is speak a word, and all those things will come to a halt. Come to a halt completely. In this word today, God have issued a concluding word to Israel. They had been in captivity for a long time now, and Israel captivity is coming to a halt. Coming to an end, and they are being delivered here. Even though they have been delivered, they are not still where God desired them to be. They have been freed from captivity, but still not in Canaan. They were not where they used to be, but they're not where they was when they was in captivity now. You got to see what God is doing. They are delivered, but still developing, still in process. That's where Israel is here in the text. But somebody here this morning, you're in that place this morning. God is saying, even though you've been delivered, you are still in process. You are not where you used to be, and not where God desired for you to be. But if you are not careful, the devil will play mind games on you this morning, reminding you what you are not. The devil will remind you, baby. He'll try to tell you, baby, you ain't saved. He'll try to tell you, baby, you don't feel the presence of the Lord. That's just your personal feeling. The devil will play mind games with you to get you to focus on how far you have to go and how much you have to grow and how many times you have messed up and had to go back to God time and time again. I like to say, don't focus on how far you have to go, but thank God how far you have came, because you have come a long ways right now. Flip the strip on that devil. And that you're not in Canaan, but thank God that you're not in captivity. Flip the strip on the devil and thank God that you ain't out like you used to be. You might used to be a drunkard, but you don't drink like you used to. You used to fall in line, but you don't fall in line as much. You used to hoe hop, but you just don't hoe hop like you used. That's a whole nother mess. Let me get back to my scripture. I thank God, God, not just because you're still in working process. You ain't going to be perfect sitting here in church. You ain't going to be perfect all the time you fast and pray. You're going to fall down sometime, but baby, you can get back up because of grace. God have grace and gave us grace that we can get back up and start again. The devil try to make you feel that it ain't no God. It'll make you feel, do you really believe it's a true God? Do you believe God will let this world go through all? The devil will all play mind games on you. No, sometimes we have to give God a process praise. Thank God for where I am today. I'm in the process. We should not talk about your neighbors, I know, but we should thank God for the progress in their life. They may not have it all together just like you, but thank God for your neighbor because they at least in church. That's one thing about Christian people. Sometimes they like to talk about one another, but don't talk about your brothers and sisters. No, love them. I know we still fall down, but thank God we fall down less. I know we still struggle in certain areas, but thank God we're not struggling in certain areas, all the areas that we used to struggle in. Children of Israel are making progress. They are moving from captivity to a place of more than enough. As they are traveling to their destination, and now they are looking around, and it seems like God had led them to a place or to a dead end. Exodus the 14th chapter, when I read that, now Israel was stuck at the water edge. God had led them to a place they feel like they are boxed in. Someone here can relate to what I'm saying, are stuck. You're stuck on a job that it seems like there's no advancement. You're stuck in a relationship that seems like is on the fast track to nowhere, stuck between a pile of debt and can't seem like you're going to come out. You're stuck between a bad decision that you made and years gone by, stuck in a cycle of repetitive habit that you've had that seems like you cannot break. You're stuck between stuff that you used to do, places you used to go, things that you used to have. You're stuck beneath the weight of a load of guilt and shame. You're stuck between a cycle of dysfunction. You're stuck in a bed of rock of tears and trial. But the good news is where you are is not where you have to stay. Somebody should have got to pray that I ain't got to stay right here. I may not be all that. I'm bagging a chip, but I don't have to stay right here. Wherever God leads you, God can sustain you. This text teaching me if you hang on in there, God will bring you out and turn things around. The Bible teaches us in verse 19, as soon as God sees their predicament, God changed his position. You need to know that God sometimes changes his position based on your predicament. Your predicament may not be like mine, so don't hang up on that. Psalm the 23rd chapter, when you read that David depicts three things in his life. In the first stage, David had troubles in his life. Stage 2, where David was going through a trying time in his life. Stage 3, David was coming out of a trial. First stage in David's life, Psalm the 23rd chapter, the first 3 verses, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in the green pasture. He leadeth me beside the still water. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. David is saying, because God is leading me, that means he is before me. Second stage in David's life, he said, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod, thy staff, thou comfort me. David is saying right here, I got in the valley. The Lord was not before me, but the Lord was right beside me. Third stage in David's life, he said, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. And all the days of my life, David is saying, before trouble came in my life, God was before me. When trouble came in my life, God was beside me. But when I was coming out of trouble, God was right behind me. You need to know that God will change his position based on your situation. Somebody here may not be going through some trials in your life. You may need to know that, but God is right beside you. Somebody may be enjoying a season of life, things going on better in your life because God is before you and leading you. But I am talking to someone here who is coming out of trouble, who's coming out of a jam, who's coming out of depression, who's coming out of debt, who's coming out of negative situation. You need to know that you are not coming out alone, but God has been pushing you. It wasn't you. God been pushing you. God will change his position. In verse 19 said that the angel of God that had been traveling in front of Israel withdrew himself and went behind them. Also, the pillar of cloud moved from in front and stood behind them, coming between the army of Israel and Egypt. God moved in the middle. I want to stick a pin in right there because God is in the text. He moved right there. God wants to move in the middle of your life. I don't know what you're going through. God don't want to be on the outskirts, on the outside of your life. No. God wants to be in the middle. Tell your neighbor, God want to be in the middle. God want to be in the middle. I grew up in the 60s and the 70s. Some of y'all may be too young. Dick and Holloway, they may be too young. When I wanted to entertain, listen to some records, we had the thing called a radio, a record player. And we had those little 45 records. Yeah, some of y'all don't even know what the 45 is. We didn't listen to the CDs. We didn't have DVD. We didn't have the iPods, the tablet. We entertained with a record player. In order to play a 45, you had to have an adapter in the middle of that 45 to set it on the record player. If you were born in the 80s, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you want to play a 45, you had to have a disc sticking in the middle of that record to put it on the record player. I don't care how bad you wanted to play Heat Wave when your girlfriend came over and you wanted to play Always and Forever, each moment with you, just a dream come true. You cannot play that on the record player at that time. They don't understand that, Deacon Brother Stoke. I don't care how bad you wanted to play Earth, Wind, and Fire. Reason, you can play that disc. And God is saying, just like you had to put that in the middle of a 45 to play it on the record, God want to be in the middle of your situation too. If you want to have a successful life, put God in the middle. If you want to have a successful marriage, put God in the middle. If you want to have a successful walk, put God in the middle. If you want to have a successful finance and budgeting, put God in the middle. If you want to have a successful future, put God in the middle. If you want to have a successful career, put God in the middle. God don't want to be on the outskirt. God don't want to be on the outskirt. Most time we'll wait till we get into a jam, then we'll run to God. Put God in the middle before you make that decision. Put him in the middle. Put y'all touch your neighbor. Put him in the middle. Put him in the middle. Here it is. Verse 20. What God is doing, y'all have your seat. What God was doing several things here in the middle. He was in the middle causing them to progress. Number two, what he was doing in the middle, he was creating a petition. And number three, what he was doing, he was canceling out their past. Number one, God was in the middle causing them to progress. If you read the text, you will see that Israel's progress had came to a halt. When they left Egypt, they made progress. But when Pharaoh hardened his heart and let them go, they made progress. They did not leave empty-handed. They left with jewels, pearls, and diamonds, silver, and gold. They were making progress. But in chapter 14, you keep reading, all of a sudden, the progress stopped, came to a halt. Pharaoh changed the matter. Red Sea, and they saw the Red Sea in front of them, and they saw the mountains on both sides of them, and they saw Pharaoh's army coming behind them. And when they saw the uncrossable in front of them, they saw the unclimbable on the side of them, they saw the unconquerable behind them, their progress stopped. God was so concerned about their progress in verse 19, he moved behind them to push them to a purpose. You ought to push your neighbor and say, God trying to push you into purpose. You need to know that God sometimes has to push us into the next level. I heard the praise team sing about the next level. God trying to push us to the next level. Sometimes God has to let stuff happen in our life in order to push us to purpose. I learned to stop complaining about those people that you think are your haters. They are not your hater, but really they elevating you. They pushing you. So I don't pray God move my haters no more, because God need my haters around me. God need my haters at the table, because I come out and be blessed. I want my haters to sit there watching me. It getting good. Y'all hold on. Thank God for being fired. It seemed like somebody rejected me or didn't need me. My service was not needed no more, and you got fired. What Oprah Winfrey, Walt Disney, Mark Cuban, R.K. Rowland all had in common besides being a billionaire? All of them was fired from a job. R.K. Rowland, the author of the book of Harry Potter, was fired from a desk job because he went to the bathroom so much. Walt Disney, the author of Disney World, was fired because the editor said he was not creative enough. Look at Walt Disney now. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her Baltimore news anchor position. Look at Oprah now. Mark Cuban was fired, and now he's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks ball team. Sometimes, God, say, I gotta close that door just to keep you from going in that door. They get you to move. And so I thank God for firing me. I thank God that for the failures in my life. I thank God for you move that man out of my life. I thank God you moved out. I'm gonna leave that alone. That's a whole nother. I thank God for the faith. Sometimes God will allow you to fail at the wrong thing so he can have success doing the right thing. God will allow you to fail in the wrong relationship so he can hook you up who you're supposed to be hooked up with. The failure forced me to be my destiny right now. Well, Michael Jordan would have done, and he didn't make the varsity basketball team, and if he'd have went into a shell, but what Michael J did, he took his failure and used that failure as fuel and forced him into his future. Your neighbors need to know that it's fueling you. You got to understand it's fueling me. Not only firing, not only failure fueling you and motivating you, but you should thank God for your foes. Thank God for my foes. In a sense, I need to thank God for my haters, Lord. Nothing can fuel you like having folks in your life that despise the ground that you walk on. Do you have folks that just hate you at no cause? They don't even know your name, Holly. They just hate you. They hate how you dress. They hate how you wear your hair. You got long hair, they hate it. You cut it off, they hate it. You lose weight, they hate it. They don't like your swag. They just hate you for no reason. I can't understand how people are like. Also, you all thank God for some of your family members. I know. Because some of your family members are worse than your foes. Come here, Joseph. Joseph said, it was not my foe that pushed me in the pit. Joseph said, it was my doggone brother that pushed me in the pit. I thank God for my brother. If they had not been for them and pushed me in the pit, I would not have been sold to Potiphar. And if they had not been lied on, I would not have been going to prison. And if I went to prison, I would not have got to the palace. So I thank God. So I tell myself, what the devil meant for evil, God meant it for my good. Can somebody tell God, I'm not mad. I thank you for pushing me. I thank you for nudging me. I thank you for prying me up. I thank you for poking me. I thank you for carrying me to the next level. If you have not pushed me, I'll still be working for somebody else. If you're not pushing me, I'll still be working on that dead-end job. If you had not pushed me, I'll still be married to that crazy fool. If so God had to push me. Let me slow down. So God got behind them now. He moved behind because of their progress. He wanted to continue their progress. Number two, he moved behind them to create a petition. In verse 19, the angel of God moved and went behind them. The pillar of cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. It came between the camp of Israel and Egypt, and it was a cloud, and it was dark. It was darkened to them, but it gave light by night to them, so that one can see, and they never came near each other. God created a petition around them, a divider. God become a divider for the children of Israel because they was trying to go forward, but they were still looking back. I don't know how many of y'all trying to go forward, but baby, you still trying to go back. That stuff that you had in 22, you need to let that go. We're in 2023, baby, we moving forward. They are trying to leave Egypt, but keep looking in the rearview mirror of their life. They felt the earth trembling, moving from the horses, and they saw the dust rising from the wheels of the chariot, but they were trying to move forward, but kept looking back. You cannot have success in your life always looking back. Jesus said in Luke, the 9th chapter, in the 62nd verse, he said, no man that put his hands on the plow and look back is fit for the kingdom of God. Paul said in Philippians 3:13, brethren, I am not all of that, but this one thing I do, forget those things which are behind and reach for those things that are before me. Genesis, the 19th chapter and 26th verse, but Lot's wife had made it out of Sodom and Gomorrah, but she looked back and she became a pillar of salt. Israel said, stop looking back. Forget the former things, dwelling on the past, because God got something brand new on your behalf. In order to keep them from looking back, God created a visual illusion. The cloud cast light on Israel's side and cast darkness on Egypt's side. The reason God did that way because Israel was distracted by the Egyptians. So God said, I got to fade that out. I got to make that bright now. So when you look back, you won't see nothing but darkness on there. God said, I had to create an illusion for you that you will know that they're there, but you cannot see them because of the darkness. The devil trying to feed us by something and put a distraction in our life to take us off course. Weapon of mass distraction, as I said at the beginning. You can be doing something supernatural and great in the community, in the church, and still fall down. You be doing something never heard of before and get distracted and drop the ball sometime. Matthew, the 14th chapter and 28th verse, Jesus was walking on the water, and Peter said, Lord, if it be you, Jesus, allow your boy to come walk on the water with you. Jesus said, if you bad, come on, walk out on the water. Then the Bible said Peter jumped out the boat and stood, walking on the water. But when his eye came off, Jesus started watching the situation that he was in. He started to sing. That's why the devil wants to distract some of you, because God got some great things for you. You are at the door, the break of the day, and you're almost there. The devil knows it. He's trying to distract you from your blessing. Can you thank God for being a petition to keep you focused? Thank God for putting blinders on your eye to keep you focused. Number one, the Lord got behind them because he wanted to continue their progress. Number two, he got behind them. He wanted to create a petition. Last but not least, number three, he got behind them to cancel their past. Tell somebody he can cancel your past. I don't care what you did in 2022. He can cancel that. Verse 20 says, according to the text, here the past is coming after them. In verse 5, Pharaoh changed his mind. First, he agreed to let him go. You remember the plagues and all that stuff they went through to get out of there. But in verse 7, 600 chariots and the army men are after them. And now their past is trying to catch up with them. Most of you are not going to shout right now. You're going to get kind of quiet because you like angels in the church. You have been saved all your life. You the type of person nobody can't put their hands on. You can't relate to what I'm finna say now. But you have been crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's, and you've been Mr. Goody Two-Shoe. You have never messed up. Done nothing wrong. You got some of those members in the church, you know. But you don't have to worry about your past coming back or catching up with you. But folks like me that consider things that I've done in my past, some worry sometimes whether something that you've done will come back to haunt you sometime. You do not know folks would get a pickfork or a shovel just to dig your past up. I don't know about you. That's how they do me sometimes. I'm not talking about everybody in here, but I'm talking about some people like Sister Kathy, Sister Tanya, Deacon Sam back there, Deacon Ross. I'm talking about some of those. Just a few of us that have done some dirt sometime in our life, you always have it in the back of your mind, no matter how good you do, how long you've been in church, well, you're doing in church, and people always say, yeah, I remember. Oh, yeah, that's Pastor. Oh, yeah, I remember him. I know what he used to do. I know, can I give you a reason to praise God? God got a way of shutting that stuff down. God got a way of canceling your past out. He did it in two ways. He kept Israel from getting close to Israel, and God can keep your enemy away from you. I know God can do it. God can stop your enemy from finding you. God, He can give, you ought to give God a praise, because God has stopped some of the stuff that people try to bring up and lie on you. They'll tell all kinds of lies that you don't have to worry about folks trying to dig you up, because God can keep that stuff covered up sometimes. Can you look back over your life and thank God for keeping some of that stuff covered up that you did? Because everything you did ain't came out. I know some of the little stuff you might talk about, but some of the deep stuff, some of that stuff you'll never tell. You'll go to your grave with that. I know you. Some of y'all get up here and testify. God delivered me from something, but you ain't gonna talk about some of that stuff. Some of that stuff gonna stay under the cover. You gonna put more dirt on it so it won't, and you gonna step on it so it make sure it don't come up. First thing God did, He kept the past from getting close to Israel. Second thing He did was He kept Israel from going back to the past. Sometimes the threat is not them coming after you, but sometimes it's the threat that you going back at it. There are some phone calls that you wouldn't make. You would have made, but you didn't. There are some emails that you still could send, but you just didn't send it. There are some places that you still would go. There are some people that you still would talk to. Can you give God praise, thank God for shutting that stuff down? I don't know about you, because sometimes late at night, I don't know about you, late at night when you get lonely, sometimes no phone call, you want to make that phone call and to get that pillow talk. They can shout, they all holy here in this church. But I need to go across the street to the church over there, because they know what I'm talking about. Not only God keep all that away from you, but he kept you away from me. You need to put God in the middle. The reason why you ought to put God in the middle, all throughout the Bible, God is in the middle. He's in the middle. And He's comfortable being in the middle. I didn't know that. Genesis 1, God created the heaven and the earth, and He is in the middle of creation. He in the middle of heaven. The Bible said that heaven declares the glory of God, not only in heaven, but He is in the middle of the earth. Isaiah 6:3, the angel declared, holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of His glory. Not only was God in the middle of the creation of heaven and earth, but on the Calvary, for a long time I wondered why Jesus had to die in the middle. Why He had to be hung between two thieves. But I came to know that God is comfortable in the middle. I come to encourage you this morning tell you to put Him in the middle this morning. If you put Him in the middle, He will turn it around for you. And put Him in the middle, God will turn that whole situation around. So I'm asking you this morning to put it in the middle of your heart. Put Him in the middle of your mind. If you want prosperity, you have to put Him in the middle. If you want your marriage to work right, put Him in the middle. If you want your finances to work right, put Him in the middle. That means you got to pay your tithe. But I messed up one time, and I didn't have Him in my life. But I've changed now. I ask the Lord to be in the center of my life. I ask Him to be in the center of my heart, to be in the center of my will, be in the center of my joy, be in the center of my wishes, be in the center of every decision that I got to make. Don't miss the mission. God has to be in the middle. You got to put Him in the middle. He's not going to just put Himself in the middle. You got to put Him in the middle. In 2023, you got to put Him in the middle. If you don't put Him in the middle, it's going to be rough for you this year. Stand to you.
Hi, my name is Associate Pastor Tanya Harris Reese. Thank you for watching with us on today. If you would like a copy of this message, comment below or inbox us and our media team will get right back with you. If you would like to sow into the ministry, please mail a check to the address listed below or download the Giveify app and search America's Holiness Deliverance Temple. Stay connected with us through all our social media platforms. Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next time.